The last mourner had finally left, leaving me alone in the funeral home with nothing but flowers and sympathy cards. Michael's mahogany casket was still open, his face peaceful, as if he were just sleeping. The mortician had done an excellent job hiding the bruises from the car accident. Mrs. Anderson. I turned to find Amanda, Michael's secretary, hovering in the doorway. Her black dress was designer, probably worth more than my monthly salary as a high school teacher. But something was off. Her usual perfect posture was gone, replaced by nervous energy as she clutched her handbag. Amanda, thank you for coming. And please call me Olivia. I managed a weak smile. Michael always spoke so highly of you. A strange expression flickered across her face. Did he? Her knuckles went white around her bag. Olivia, I need to give you something, but not here. She glanced over her shoulder at the funeral director, who was pretending to arrange flowers while clearly eavesdropping. Meet me at the Blue Door Cafe in an hour. Please, it's about Michael. Before I could respond, she was gone, her heels clicking rapidly down the hallway. I turned back to my husband's body, studying the face I'd woken up to every morning for 12 years. What secrets could Michael possibly have that would make his secretary so nervous? Mrs. Anderson. The funeral director's voice was professionally sympathetic. We need to close the casket now. I leaned down and kissed Michael's cold forehead one last time. Goodbye, my love, I whispered, even as Amanda's strange behavior nagged at me. 50 minutes later, I sat in the Blue Door Cafe, still in my black funeral dress, waiting. The coffee in front of me had gone cold, untouched. My mind kept replaying the accident report. Single car crash, late at night, brake failure. Michael had been alone, driving back from a business dinner. Amanda slid into the seat across from me, still clutching her bag like a lifeline. She'd been crying. Before I give you this, she said, pulling out a thick manila envelope, I need you to know something. Michael wasn't who you thought he was, who any of us thought he was. What are you talking about? She placed the envelope on the table but kept her hand on it. Michael wasn't just my boss. He was my brother. The world tilted sideways. That's impossible. Michael was an only child. His parents died when he was young, in a fire. That's the story he told everyone. The story our father made him tell. She finally released the envelope, pushing it toward me. Everything you need to know is in here. Bank statements, photos, DNA test results, and a USB drive with video files you need to watch. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. The first thing I saw was a birth certificate for Amanda Mitchell, dated 28 years ago. Next was Michael's original birth certificate, not Michael Anderson, but Michael Mitchell, 35 years ago, same parents. I don't understand, I whispered. Why would you lie about this, about you? Amanda leaned forward, her voice dropping. Because our father is Vincent Mitchell. The name hit me like a physical blow. Everyone knew Vincent Mitchell, the tech billionaire who'd disappeared 5 years ago after his company was exposed for illegal weapons dealing. The FBI was still looking for him. Michael helped the FBI build their case against our father. Amanda continued. He'd been gathering evidence for years, working undercover in the company. When everything went public, father disappeared. But not before he swore he'd destroy everyone who betrayed him. She swallowed hard. Michael was at the top of that list. The car accident, I said slowly. You don't think it was an accident? Look at the USB drive when you're alone. Michael knew they were coming for him. He left you everything you need, account numbers, safe houses, new identities. A tear slid down her cheek. He loved you so much, Olivia, but he knew that loving you put you in danger. Why are you telling me this now? Because they're watching me too. After the funeral, I'm disappearing. New name, new life. She stood up, straightening her dress. But first, I had to make sure you got this. Michael made me promise. Amanda, wait. That's not my real name anyway. She managed a sad smile. Goodbye, Olivia. Be careful who you trust. I sat there long after she left, staring at the envelope that had just shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. Finally, I pulled out my phone and Googled Vincent Mitchell. There he was, steel gray hair, cold eyes, sharp suit. Next to him, in an old company photo, stood a younger Michael before I knew him. He looked different somehow. Harder. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Sorry about your loss, Mrs. Anderson. Please accept our invitation to dinner tomorrow night, 8 p.m., La Maison Rouge. Your father-in-law sends his regards. My blood ran cold. Below the text was a photo, clearly taken less than an hour ago, of me entering this cafe. With trembling fingers, I shoved everything back into the envelope and dropped a 20 on the table. As I walked to my car, I noticed a black SUV with tinted windows parked across the street. The engine was running. I thought about our house, filled with sympathy casseroles and funeral flowers. About the life insurance papers I was supposed to file next week. About the simple story of the loving husband who died in a tragic accident. But Michael hadn't been simple, had he? He'd been a son trying to bring down his criminal father, a brother protecting his sister, and a husband keeping deadly secrets to save his wife. Now clutching an envelope full of truth and a phone with a deadly dinner invitation, I had a choice to make. I could play ignorant, go to the dinner, and pray they believed I knew nothing. Or I could run. As I started my car, another text came through. A black dress tomorrow night would be appropriate. After all, you're still in mourning. I looked in my rearview mirror. The SUV was pulling out behind me. Michael had spent our entire marriage protecting me from his father's world. Now that world was coming for me anyway. I turned left instead of right, away from our house and everything I knew. The SUV followed. It was time to find out exactly who my husband had been, and who I needed to become to survive. I drove for 3 hours, taking random turns, switching highways before I finally lost the black SUV. My hands hadn't stopped shaking since I left the cafe. Now, parked at a remote rest stop off I-95. I inserted the USB drive into my laptop with trembling fingers. A video file opened automatically. Michael's face filled the screen, recorded in what looked like his office. My heart clenched. He'd made this just 2 weeks ago. Olivia, my love. If you're watching this, then I'm dead, and Amanda kept her promise. He looked tired, with shadows under his eyes I hadn't noticed at home. Everything I'm about to tell you will sound impossible, but you need to believe every word. I pressed my palm against the screen, touching his image as he continued. The accident you think killed me wasn't random. My father's people finally found me. I've been running from them for 15 years, ever since I first discovered what Mitchell Technologies really was, a front for weapons dealing, money laundering, and worse. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture so familiar it hurt. I never told you the truth because knowing would have put you in danger. But now, you're in danger anyway. They'll come for you, trying to find what I left behind. The screen changed to show documents, bank statements, property deeds. I spent years building an escape route. There's $10 million in an offshore account. The routing numbers are in Amanda's envelope. There's also a house in Montreal under the name Sarah Collins. The deed and new identity papers are in a safe deposit box at First National Bank, Box 2317. The key is taped inside your grandmother's old recipe book, the one you never use. My mind raced. He'd thought of everything. But most importantly, his face returned to the screen, more serious now. There's proof. Everything the FBI needs to bring down my father's entire operation. It's hidden where no one would think to look, in plain sight at our wedding. I frowned. Our wedding. The video looks normal to everyone else. But embedded in the digital file are encrypted documents detailing every illegal transaction, every shell company, every murder ordered by Vincent Mitchell. The original file is in our wedding album. A car door slammed somewhere in the rest stop parking lot. I jumped, quickly minimizing the video. You need to get that video to FBI agent Sarah Martinez. Only her. She's been undercover in my father's organization for years. But be careful, half the agents supposedly investigating him are on his payroll. Another car door, footsteps crunching on gravel. One last thing, Olivia. That night we met at the bookstore. It wasn't accidental. I chose you because you seemed safely ordinary, a high school English teacher, no connection to my world. I thought I could love you and keep you separate from all this. His eyes filled with tears. But you became everything to me. Real. The only real thing in my life of lies. I'm so sorry for bringing this darkness to your door. Flashlight beams swept across my car windows. I slammed the laptop shut, heart pounding. Ma'am? A police officer's face appeared at my window. Everything all right? I forced a smile, rolling down the window. Yes, officer. Just needed a break from driving. It's been "It's been a hard day." He noted my black dress, softened his tone. "Sorry for your loss, but this isn't a safe place for a lady alone at night. There's a Holiday Inn 2 exits up." "Thank you. I'll head there now." I waited until his petrol card disappeared before starting my engine. The Holiday Inn would be too obvious. Instead, I headed for my best friend Emma's house in the next town. I needed time to think, to plan. But Emma's driveway was already occupied when I arrived. A familiar black SUV sat there, its engine running. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Nice try losing us earlier." Emma says hello. She's being very cooperative. La Maison Rouge tomorrow night is no longer a request. They included a photo of Emma tied to a kitchen chair, terrified eyes staring at the camera. Another text followed. "Don't bother calling the police. Officer Jenkins at the rest stop already reported your location to us." The world spun. How deep did Vincent Mitchell's influence go? How many people were watching me? My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Amanda. "Don't trust anyone. Dead drop at location N3, 1 hour." Location N3. My mind raced through conversations with Michael, searching for meaning. Then I remembered. Our third date had been at Murphy's bar. We'd always joked it was where we really fell in love. 40 minutes later, I sat in Murphy's dimly lit parking lot, watching the streets for any sign of surveillance. At exactly 1 hour, a teenager on a bike rode past, dropping a backpack in the bushes before pedaling away. Inside the backpack, I found cash, a prepaid phone, and a note in Amanda's handwriting. "They have people everywhere. Don't use credit cards. Don't go home. Find Martinez before they find you." Memory card with backup proof in Michael's mother's locket, the one you wore at your wedding. Good luck. The wedding album. The locket. All at our house, which was surely being watched. My phone buzzed one final time. Unknown number. "Your friend Emma is quite pretty. It would be a shame if something happened to her face. 8 p.m. tomorrow. Wear the pearls Michael gave you for your anniversary." I looked again at Emma's terrified face in the photo, then at Michael's paused video on my laptop, then at Amanda's note. I had less than 24 hours to either walk into their trap at La Maison Rouge or find a way to rescue Emma, retrieve the wedding album and locket, locate a possibly compromised FBI agent, and expose a billionaire criminal's entire empire. And I was just an English teacher who, up until today, thought her biggest problem was grading term papers. I started the car, my mind made up. First, I needed supplies. Then, I needed a plan. And finally, I needed to become the kind of woman who could do impossible things. Because Michael had died protecting this evidence. He'd died trying to bring down evil men who thought money put them above the law. I couldn't let that death be for nothing. "I'm sorry about tomorrow night," I whispered to my phone, staring at their threats. "But I won't be wearing pearls. I'll be wearing vengeance." I pulled out of Murphy's parking lot, heading toward the storage facility where Michael had apparently rented a unit under a false name. According to Amanda's note, inside I would find everything I needed to become someone new. It was time to stop being the grieving widow and start being the woman my husband had trained me to be, without my knowledge. Every book he'd recommended, every self-defense class he'd encouraged, every coincidental lesson in lockpicking and computer security. He'd been preparing me for this moment all along. La Maison Rouge glittered against the night sky, its red neon sign reflecting off the rain-slicked streets. From my vantage point on the roof of the building opposite, I watched black SUVs arrive, men in expensive suits conducting security sweeps. Vincent Mitchell's people were thorough. I'd give them that. What they didn't know was that I'd arrived 3 hours earlier, disguised as a kitchen worker. The real employee was currently enjoying an all-expenses-paid spa day, courtesy of the cash from Michael's storage unit. More importantly, I'd already hidden 3 copies of the encrypted wedding video in strategic locations around the restaurant. My phone buzzed, the new prepaid one. A message from Agent Martinez. "In position. Wait for my signal." The past 24 hours had been a crash course in my husband's other life. The storage unit had contained everything: weapons, disguises, multiple identities. But most valuable was a laptop with detailed files on every player in his father's organization, including which FBI agents were compromised. Finding Martinez had been surprisingly easy after that. She'd been posing as a cleaner in Vincent's office building for months. When I chummed her Michael's video message, she'd immediately launch an operation. Now all I had to do was walk into a room full of killers and survive long enough for her team to move. My phone buzzed again. A picture of Emma, now with a split lip. 8-2. You're late. I took a deep breath and headed for the restaurant's front entrance. The maitre d' led me to a private dining room in the back. 4 men in suits stood around a table where Emma sat, trembling, and at the head of the table, looking exactly like his photos, but somehow more terrifying in person, sat Vincent Mitchell. Ah, my dear daughter-in-law. He smiled, gesturing to an empty chair. So kind of you to join us. Though I must say, those aren't the pearls I specified. I left them at home with my obedience, I reply, sitting down, along with any fear you think I should have of you. He laughed, but his eyes remained cold. Brave, just like Michael was before the brake lines in his car mysteriously failed. He sipped his wine. Now let's discuss what my son left behind. Let Emma go first. After you give me what I want. I pulled out a USB drive, a decoy containing nothing but corrupted files. Everything Michael had on you. Take it and let us walk away. Vincent examined the drive, then nodded to one of his men, who began connecting it to a laptop. I watched the seconds tick by on my watch. Any moment now. The fire alarm blared. Sprinklers activated, drenching everyone. In the confusion, I flipped the heavy table, sending Vincent sprawling. FBI agents burst through both doors, weapons drawn. FBI, everybody down. I grabbed Emma, pulling her behind an overturned chair as gunfire erupted. Through the chaos, I saw Vincent slipping toward a hidden door panel. Martinez, I shouted, pointing. The wall. But Vincent Mitchell had survived this long for a reason. He was through the door before agents could reach him. I started to follow, but Martinez grabbed my arm. We got what we needed, she said, holding up one of my hidden video copies. His whole organization is done. He's got nowhere to run. 2 hours later, I sat with Emma in an FBI safe house, watching the news. Raids were happening simultaneously across the city. Vincent's empire was crumbling in real time. I still can't believe Michael kept all this from you, Emma said, holding an ice pack to her lip. He kept it from me to protect me. I touched my wedding ring, and he made sure I had everything I needed to finish what he started. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Amanda. Father's private jet just took off from a private airstrip. He got away. I shoved it to Martinez, who smiled grimly. For now. But his money's frozen, his people are arrested, and his organization is exposed. Vincent Mitchell just became the world's most wanted man. I thought of Michael's last words in his video. Remember what I always told you about your favorite Shakespeare plays, love? How revenge tragedies never end with just one act. He's out there somewhere, I said, watching more arrests on the news. And he'll try to rebuild. Martin has raised an eyebrow. You want to help us find him. I thought of Michael, of all his careful preparations, of how he trained me without my knowing. My husband had given his life to bring down an evil empire. The least I could do was make sure his father couldn't build it back up. When do we start? The news showed another raid, another arrest. Act 1 was over. But somewhere in the world, Vincent Mitchell was plotting Act 2. And this time, I'd be ready.